The report during the regular council meeting?
After having met in closed session to discuss the
and humility, Lord, that we might find a pathful, peaceful transition, Lord, from this war. And so finally, Lord, we thank you. Once again, I thank you for our city council and always for your guidance. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Please rise, face the flag, place your right hand over your heart, and say the pledge with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk, will you please call the roll of the city council?
Yes, Mayor. Council members Bartena,
Present.
Cortez,
Present.
Flores, Mayor Pro Tem Chavez,
Present.
and Mayor Polito.
Present. We will now move to the next item on
In raising their hands, so there are no public comments.
means. Efficiency study. That RFP was put out, and we'll have some details here in the presentation. But what staff will be looking for is, I think the council has to decide whether they
Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and council members. Thank you, City Manager Michael, for the quick introduction. So tonight you'll be reviewing the Police Department Efficiency Study. A little bit of background. During the approval process of the fiscal year 20 budget, staff was directed to request for proposal for a Police Department Efficiency Study. The actual cost of the study was unknown at the time, but it was estimated to be around $60,000 during the fiscal year 2020-2021 budget. The RFP was circulated and was available from November 3rd, 2021 to December 20th, 2021. The city clerk's received a total of 3 proposals from qualified firms, and the 3 firms that submitted proposals were City Gate Associates from Folsom, California, Raftelis from Cincinnati, Ohio, and Datalytics LLC from New Orleans, Louisiana. Then the price ranged from $40,000 at the lowest for Datalytics to $84,000 for Raftelis, and in the middle it was City Gate Associates. And timing-wise, both Raftelis and Datalytics were proposing a 3-month proposal, while Citygate was proposing a timing of 6 months to do a comprehensive study. We concluded that Citygate Associates submitted the most comprehensive proposal. As such, it is now staff recommendation that the City Council by motion discuss the Police Department Efficiency Study request for proposal and authorize the City Manager to finalize the terms and conditions of the professional services agreement subject to the proposal attached to the agenda report and subject to approval by the city fiscal year 2021-2022 budget. And that concludes the report. Thank you.
And if I can add, Mayor Polito, Mayor Pro Tem, council members, if you look at the staff report, you'd see a list of some of the things that we were asking for in the RFP. So I think what we developed was a comprehensive RFP that covered all of the areas that it would provide a responsible report. And we were looking for the responses to cover all of those areas as well. So while we don't have it on the presentation, the staff report is a pretty long list of the requirements and the things that we were looking for. And at this time, what we're looking for, I think, is for the discussion among the council as far as the desire to have the police department efficiency study. And then I think from there, look to see what we want to do as far as who will conduct that study. I've had some questions from a staff perspective regarding the study. I think I can speak for myself, and I'll speak briefly for the L in that we do think that there's value in an efficiency study. The PD budget's about a $16 million budget, so 75,000 is just under half of 1%. So there's value there, even though 75,000 is still a lot of money on a percentage basis. We think that there's value there, and the chief, I think, agrees with that. Also, we do recognize there would be a significant effort on the part of the police department to get this study done. So the proposal that Hylas mentioned, that is 6 months, when you look at it, is a lot of data gathering, a lot of data compilation, a lot of analysis to come up with recommendations that will be useful. But there'll be a significant amount of work. But we do believe that there is value to in the results of an efficiency study. So with that, I'll turn it over to the council for discussion and direction. Thank you.
Any questions or comments?
Madam Mayor, if I may.
Sure.
City Manager, just wanted to know, how long was the RFP open for?
Yes, Councilmember Barcena. It was open from November 3rd through December 20th. So it's approximately about 6 weeks. And just to kind of confirm as far as the level of effort that we put out when we do RFPs, because this question comes up not just on this study, but I think on a lot of things that we put RFPs out there for. So we put them on our website. We generally, when it's some kind of a service that we don't receive regularly, that we don't have vendors that we know are out there, we post it on our website. And some of what we rely on are, there are services out there that monitor websites of government agencies for professional services and that monitor to see when new RFPs or our requests for bids are put out there. So there was no additional outreach outside of that. So staff didn't go out to any of the firms that proposed or any other firms that may exist.
Of our police department is also agreeing with the need to have some sort of evaluation of the spending. I think that sort of helps us because he's an expert in the police department. So I appreciate you voicing that into our council meeting today. My only concern here is that we only received 3 proposals, and one of the proposals was very low. It was around 40 to kind of climb up to like 80,000 and 75,000. What I feel like is necessary in this situation is to maybe just open it up for a little longer, have the council decide later. Once we have a couple more options, if possible, that will be my my recommendation. But I'm open to hearing what the rest of the council has to say about it.
Any comments, questions, response to Councilmember Barcena's comment?
I just wanted to add something. It just seems like we're back in, we have this culture, right, that within our council where we're like, investigations, audits, studies, and it's just really costly. For me personally, to spend 74,000 or 84,000 or 40,000 for a study that would show us where we could potentially maybe save money when we can just have finance director and city manager do that for free, which is their job essentially. Can you use it?
I can, oh, sorry.
Yeah, when we can just ask them, what it is that we can do to save money if that's the goal, and to, spend this taxpayer money to look at the police department, to
Mayor Polito, if I may.
Sure.
I'd actually like to hear from the chief and hear his opinions on this. I don't know if this is a common thing across other police departments, or when was the last time one was done for our city, but I'm curious to hear Chief Fairfield's perspective on this, please.
Yes, thank you. I think it's a study done appropriately and or is a good thing. I think we can always learn how to do things maybe better or to have done it, and some have made minor changes. Some have made added personnel or relocated personnel. But the two agencies I spoke to, it was nothing overwhelming.
Sounds good. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. I think that's very valuable coming from our chief. He obviously knows the department like his hand, and he's been working in our city for quite a while. I'm kind of surprised to hear that we haven't had a study here. I think it's something that we should look into, and I'm glad to see that the chief is also supportive of having that done. In my experience, here, the times that I have interacted with the police department, a common thing that we're constantly hearing is backfilling, constantly over time with our officers. I think it'd be interesting to see across the board, how are we doing with staffing? How are we managing our time? Overall, how is the department doing when it comes to providing the best service to our residents? So I'd actually like to see this study be done. And I'm glad to see that the chief is also supportive of continuing with this. So that's where I stand on this.
You're muted.
I also appreciate Chief is open for this study, but I think that's just his nature. In my experience, he's also always been someone that's open with working with the team and is very transparent in regards to the way that he manages the department. So I'm not surprised that you would be also Member Flores, that if we wanted to do something like this or some kind of study or looking into the way that we're making the money, we do have staff in-house that could do that already. And for this reason, I would like to motion to file this item.
I'll second that motion.
Before we continue on that, I just have one question. Manny, what is the cost for us to hire a new officer?
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. So entry level is about 83,500. That's no benefits. That's just salary only.
So just before we continue with that, it'll cost us 83,500 to hire a new officer. Now, one of the suggested prices on here, and I'm not trying to parade facts, but I just want you guys to understand that this is just not financially ethical or intelligent to make this. It'll cost us 84,000 or 74,000 with the recommended to make the study, where we can just use 83 to just hire a new officer. Everybody complains that we don't have enough staff. This would be the answer to that instead of spending money on that. So with that said, go ahead, girls.
If I may,
Sure.
right, although that's true, a study is being done to provide a holistic approach to the whole department, and it's not as simple as just adding another officer and the problem's going to get solved, right? And I don't, and keep in mind again,
At the end of the day,
Officers, and at that point would be like, okay, we have a list of menu of things and solutions that we can implement, and we have the budget to cover. In the same sense, yeah, we're just fooling ourselves by bringing back
Elaborate a little bit on the purpose of my motion. You know, as council members, we were elected to this seat with a fiduciary duty, making sure that we use our funds properly. As the city manager indicated, the police budget is about half of our entire money. All the money that comes into the city, from all of it, half of it goes to the police department. Very quickly, city manager, can you tell us roughly how much that is in dollar amounts? The police.
Yes, Councilmember Barson, it's about 16 million just on the general fund budget. So right about 50% of the general fund
Okay.
budget, $16 million.
Thank you so much. So I just want to elaborate. We can. And last time I checked, none of us here were experts in police departments except the chief, right? So I want to make sure that the council knows that today, if they don't vote to do the best job possible to make sure that we're using those dollars as efficiently as possible, or maybe even identifying the need to fund the police even more, to provide more funding. We don't know what it is because we haven't done a study. I would highly encourage my colleagues to keep that option open, because that is why we were elected, to not to make emotional, passionate decisions because we support X, Y, and Z, but rather to make educated decisions looking at professional firms to
Did any of us request to see the RFPs that had been submitted at any?
As I know there was, I talked with Councilmember Barcena regarding, and let me even back up a little bit. Why would I even speak with Councilmember Barcena? This RFP process, if we go back and were to look at the public record, this was something that Councilmember Barcena felt very strongly about. Again, we can go back and look at video of the part of the budget process for 2021. So at the time, also Councilmember Barcena was the mayor at the time that this RFP was put out, and we kind of worked closely with him in getting this RFP updated on the fact that it was open, when it was going to close, and also having discussion regarding the proposals that were coming in. So the proposals weren't at any time provided to anybody outside of the review panel up until they were provided to the council as a whole.
Thank you. City Clerk, will you please conduct a call vote? This would be for the motion made by Councilmember Barcena.
Yes, Mayor. Councilmember Sparcina,
yes.
Cortez,
No.
Flores,
No.
Mayor Pro Tem Chavez,
Yes.
and Mayor Polito.
No. Would you please conduct roll call vote for the motion to receive and file?
Yes, Mayor.
Yes.
Cortez,
Yes.
Flores,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Chavez,
Yes.
and Mayor.
Public participation is now open for items not listed on the agenda. City Clerk, will you please announce the instructions for the public?
Yes, Mayor. There were 0 written comments submitted. So now the members of the public will have an opportunity to speak on items not listed on the agenda. Please, for addressing your comments to the mayor and city council. Each speaker and written comment is limited to 3 minutes. Written comments will be read out loud after all speakers have been heard. Anyone wishing to make a comment may do so at this time by pressing *9. When instructed, press *6 to unmute yourself. Individuals joining us through the Zoom app has to make a comment by using the raise hand feature on Zoom. And there are no speakers that have raised their hand.
If there's an objection by the city council, I will close public participation. We will now move to council member comments. Councilmember Barcena.
Kind of caught me off guard. I'm not used to the public comment being the first thing. But I want to thank staff for all the work that they do. I've noticed there's a very fast response time on public works items that go to me. I've also received a lot of complaints that have been addressed very quickly by our police department. So I want to thank them for taking care of that. There's many times there's concerns coming from our residents, and luckily we were able to get some fast response from our police department in the last few months. That's something that I've noticed. So thank you to the police department. The Recreation and Community Services has been doing an amazing job in the last few weeks that we've had our new director. I want to thank her for that as well. I want to thank staff for bringing the item for today's meeting in regards to the police study. Unfortunately, it did not pass. However, that is something that we can continue to work towards. I believe that it's always the right decision is always to make sure that you're spending your money wisely, and that you're studying and being as informed as possible. So thank you all for a great meeting, and you guys have a great week. It's just Monday. We're just getting started. So thank you.
Councilwoman Cortez.
Thank you, Mayor. Just want to go ahead and reiterate the invitation for our March 12th workshop, our rent control workshop. We want everyone to come out so we can hear from you. This one's on a Saturday so that we can make sure that those folks that were working last time have an opportunity to speak up and have us hear your viewpoint, so that the council can objectively make a decision with regards to rent control. So again, we just want to invite everyone. With that said, I also thank you to all of our staff for all the hard work, and to our city council as well, and have a great evening.
Councilwoman Flores.
I just wanted to thank staff again. I also had some complaints. I've had some throughout the last couple of weeks, and they range from potholes to parking to police to, community development, everything. And all of my directors have been extremely swift at making sure that the residents are being heard. Special shout out to Griselle, who's been hearing from me what feels like every day for the last month or so. Sorry, girl. And I just wanted to add something to the agenda. I know that a few months ago, I gave direction to our previous Parks and Rec director to start forming the possibility of looking at budgets to start a Christmas parade here in our city. I know that we were also planning something for 4th of July, like some sort of lightings, because as you guys know, fireworks have been banned from our city. But I wanted to see if maybe we can have, I don't know if it's too soon, plan a 4th of July parade. I don't know if it'd be too soon or not, but maybe we can see that way we can have something where the community can be involved. It could be outdoors, COVID guidelines. So I'd like to give direction to look into that to our new Parks and Rec director. So Liz, please let us know in the next council meeting if that would seem feasible, and hopefully we can, work something out, and if you could just get back to us with when a parade would be more ideal for the city. The city I know has not had a parade in for sure over 40 years. So that would be really, really nice. And then secondly, I just wanted to talk to the community. I don't know, how a lot of our meetings are transpired to you, but I want to clarify that all of my votes are educated votes. Everything that I do, everything that I say, I have already gone through it. All of the questions that I make are not for my knowledge. I already read the agenda. They're for you more so. So any of my colleagues that may or may not know, or let me remind them, some of the studies that we've made here, like a parking study that cost us right over, I think, $40,000, really was kind of just to tell us what we already knew. So sometimes if I don't vote for these studies, it's because I don't believe that the appropriate matters will be taken. So even after this money has already been spent, I know that we have the money is your taxpayers' money. So if you want to look at it, we have an amazing finance director who makes everything available whenever necessary. In a matter of minutes or seconds, he can look up whatever number that you need. So it's more so about wanting to work with each other and making sure that if we have an idea that you believe serves the public, that we should all work together to make sure that we're able to bring the best of ourselves and bring the best of our policies to serve the residents. So on that note, I hope that we can all start working together to bring and push the correct policies together, so that we don't have to have these types of discussions and items on the agenda that, might not follow through. And in honor of Rare Disease Day, I'd like to highlight DiGeorge syndrome. That's why I'm wearing baby blue today. That's the color for DiGeorge syndrome. It's a chromosomal syndrome that affects your entire body. My sister has DiGeorge syndrome, and it's a very, very rare disease. It affects, again, her entire development. She has heart issues, hearing issues, eye issues, and a lot of development issues. And it's a very rare disease that a lot of medicine and a lot of science has not been able to determine what exactly causes DiGeorge syndrome. But on that note, happy Rare Disease Days. I know a lot of us have somebody that we love that are part of the special needs family. So we have a lot of love here, sending you guys all love. And with that, I hope you guys all have a wonderful week. And that is all for me. Thank you.
Mayor, may I add something? I forgot something.
Well,
Just really quickly, this is direction to staff. This weekend we had, or this past week, we had one of our students, Catherine Hernandez. She finished top 16 in the California Wrestling State Championships, and I was wondering if the council can recognize her at the next council meeting. I think it was an amazing feat. Once, it hasn't happened in the history of Bell Gardens. She put us on the map, and she finished top 16 in wrestling. That's amazing. So if it's okay with council, we can recognize her at the next council meeting.
I give direction to do that last time already, so it's
Perfect.
coming up. But thank you so much, Councilwoman. I really appreciate it too.
Mayor Pro Tem Travis.
Thank you for that. I'd like to also recognize a team from BGHS. Shout out to Bell Gardens High School boys basketball. They made it to top 8, I think. Top 8, top 16. They drove all the way out there to Santa Barbara. It was a good season. But again, it's that Coach Ware. His passion, his dedication to the boys right there, and I'd love to recognize them at our next council meeting. In terms of the teams from the high school. Staff direction, I would want to see the farmers market that I've been mentioning that a couple of times. I think I talked to Mike a little bit about it. Last year I brought it up in regards to an annual permit that has to be submitted from a department, state of California. It's a 1-year thing, so it didn't make sense for us to get it like 2 or 3 months right before the year ended, right? So it's February, we're about to go into March tomorrow. I think that'd be a good thing to have for the residents coming into the summer. It could be maybe like a night market or something, that'd be great. So that's something that I've always been wanting to see. And I believe that was already worked on prior to arriving at council as well. So let's see, I think, shout out to Grisel. She's really putting in work when it comes to all these requests of the bulky items. I'll be driving down Clement Street. I just picked Clement because that one has like mixed use. And I'm going by the senior center, and I know our seniors are right there. And I always see the bulky items sometimes just thrown out. So immediately I shoot her a text, and right away it gets picked up. So again, I really appreciate all the work that Director Grisel's doing when it comes to that and everything in public works. So I believe I had 2 more items, but I forgot to write them down. But other than that, rent control, make sure y'all come through. It is not this Saturday, next Saturday, right? Very important. We need as much community input on this item. This is huge. This is something that's been worked on for a long time, but by our 2 colleagues, Councilmember Barcena and Councilmember Cortez. So I'll be there attending as a resident, and I look forward to seeing everyone else there. With that said, I hope everyone is taking care of themselves. Final thing. I don't know if y'all heard, but I guess essentially now in the LA County, they're not requiring masks anymore, right? In some indoor spaces, sort of, right? I think the call came out Friday last week. I don't know if Mike can maybe touch on that, but this is something that maybe we should look into possibly opening up council chambers back to the public. Having it maybe mixed where we can still do the virtual and we can still be online, but yet have people also present. I know our city hall, every office in the city has been functioning and providing services to people. It's something that maybe we should start looking into, and we could allow the public to come in person again. So maybe staff for next meeting could maybe propose something if it's not already in that language. But if you can clarify on the terms of LA County lifting up a mask mandate or not. I think it was last Friday when I saw, I think it was our new supervisor, Janice Hahn, who made that announcement. Yeah. With that said, that's it for my comments.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Chavez. So I met today with Manuel and with our HR director, our HR manager regarding the mask mandate. So as far as from an employee perspective, that's kind of where we start here, where we have control over the employees and how we run our operations here. So masks are still required unless there are some other options that you take that require mandatory testing every 3 days for people that are unvaccinated, et cetera. And at least at this time, we felt that it's the safer approach is to continue to require the masks. A lull in COVID, we've seen 3 or 4 lulls in COVID, and then all of a sudden there's not a lull, and we have 13 or 14 people out that are sick. And we have the public in here regularly. We've expanded our, in City Hall specifically, we've expanded the passport processing. So we've got, anytime you come into the City Hall now, you'll see anywhere from 3 to 15 residents here getting their passports. And so we thought that it makes the most sense from a public health perspective, employee safety perspective, and also administrative burden perspective to continue to maintain the requirement for masks within the city offices in lieu of doing very specific testing regimen specific days of time. So just out of caution, and obviously we'll reevaluate that as new mandates come out, and as if there are any new variants, or if things hopefully slow down and clear up over the next few weeks and months.
Thank you.
Thank you for that clarification. I just want to share that, like Councilmember Flores mentioned, all of us read through the reports, educate ourselves, ask questions before the meeting. So I'm very grateful for having department heads that make difficult decisions easy for us during the meeting. I know that sometimes the topics can get a little bit heated maybe, but I am very passionate about public safety, and that's why I voted the way that I did in regards to the study. I am grateful we have a chief that is also very passionate about our community and is leading a department of officers that give it their all every single day to protect our city. And he's very responsible in regards to the way that he manages the budget alongside with our city manager. So thank you so much. Thank you to the council for voting the way that you did, and also for expressing your concerns, asking questions, and making us all think during the process. And with that, I will adjourn the meeting at